Hello?
Okay. I call the meeting to order at 5:30 PM on Wednesday, October 9th. Our first order of business is to approve the minutes of October 2nd, 2024.
I move we approve the minutes of October 2nd. Second.
Okay, all in favor? Please say aye. Opposed? Abstained? Okay, motion passes. Okay, now we move on to the hearings. The hearing is a continuation of crafts. The property number is 00702-006.000, land off Miller Road. Come up. Okay, could people that are on Zoom please mute until their case is called, please? Because we're hearing some background noise. Thank you. All right, so I think we have one new piece of evidence in this, which is the new property card. Do you want to discuss that, Russ?
Okay, sure. This is the property on Miller Road, and what I mentioned last meeting.
Russ, we can't hear you. There, now we can.
Yeah.
Now we can.
Okay. Yeah, Therese mentioned that the sound, my mic wasn't coming through too well, so I'm trying the headphones, see if that's any better.
That's working right there.
Okay, I won't move. Okay, so what I did was, as I mentioned last meeting, that the property is off the grid, which the property owner identified. So I put that into the system, which automatically makes the reduction for the vacant home site of 15%. So the current value is $138,200 with the 15% reduction on the house site would reduce the value down to $132,200.
I'm sorry, 132 what?
200. So Chris, how would you like to proceed?
Well, that's a lot better than it was, obviously, so I guess, I can go along with that.
Okay. So you're willing to withdraw your appeal tonight?
Yeah, that'll,
Okay.
unless you guys got some other idea.
I don't know if any other board member does, but I'm not seeing it. I mean, I think one thing that was suggested to you at our last hearing is current use, which would,
Yeah.
I know you don't feel good about that, but I just
No, I don't
wanted
want
to mention that again.
Yeah. Okay, well, we'll leave it at that for now.
Okay. All right.
As long as you guys don't get the tax rate up too high. Okay, thank you.
All right. Thank you very much.
You want everything, don't you?
Okay. Our next hearing is also a continuance. Boyd, the property number is 00301028.010, which is 8845 Vermont Route 100 North. And I believe we also have one piece of new evidence with respect to that property as well.
I think that's wrong.
Well, let's talk about it first and then I'm just getting it up. Okay, so we have, Russ, I believe this came from you. Do you want to explain the new document, which is a map of the property of Janet and Danny Boyd?
That's correct. Yeah, this is a map of the current use application. It was dated, I think, 2017, and it still creates some confusion.
You sit back, Russ. Sorry, it's really hard to understand you when you're close.
Okay, is that better?
Yes.
Thank you.
So sitting up versus.
Yeah.
I thought the microphone would help, but I guess not. So the map shows that the property is in current use, shaded, and it shows the barn. Now, the confusion is that according to this map, the barn is in current use. But when I went to VT Pi state site, it says that the barn is not in current use. So I think the property owner has to investigate this with the state, because there's nothing I can do about it. So the property record card that we have, and because there's actually two parcels here, there's a small section on the southern eastern side. It's the 0.56 acres, which is not included in current use. We have it on our property record card. But the thing is, if the state says that the barn's not in current use, then the barn has to be on outside of that shaded area, which it's not. So there's still an issue that I can't resolve at this point in time.
Okay. Thank you. Janet?
I called my forester this week. The map Russ pulled up is 2017, I think,
I believe that's what he stated.
and we had it redone. So I'm not sure why that wasn't filed. I did put a call into my forester. The barn should have been included, and I almost think that other little piece should have been included. And that's what I've got to work on now.
Okay.
But we put everything into a trust, and when we did that, we had to have it all redone. So I don't know why he's got 2017. I think it was 2022.
Yeah, says it right here,
What's the map date?
August 2017.
17.
Yeah, so we had one done after that. So for some reason, I guess it wasn't filed, or he looked under our name and maybe it's under the trust and he didn't know that. I don't know. But I did make that call, so I have to wait and get that answer.
So I guess based on what we know today, this map indicates that the barn is in the current use section. However, from Russ's testimony, he's saying the state does not indicate that it is.
Correct.
So that's the real cusp of the issue that we need to resolve here.
So again, the property is floodplain for the most part, except for a little bit. And that doesn't matter either way.
For
I'm-
current
I'm
use, I don't believe so for current
Not for
use.
current use, for the value that reassessed.
So, I did a little research this afternoon on current use. I believe that if the barn is in current use, it is tax exempt.
And that's really, no one has ever said that to me. So
Well, that's what the state website
I
said.
know, I don't know if that's something new. I don't know, but I did put a call into our force.
So
So-
it is an important issue to resolve.
Sure. So do we do another continuance? Is this what I should deal with now for this year and come back next year?
Well, that, if you can gather the information from the state to resolve this discrepancy, then I think the board would be willing to grant another
Sure.
continuance.
Yeah,
Also, Russ should probably look in the name of the trust, what the name of the trust is.
Yeah.
If it's
Oh, I-
not on the void, like what
Well,
is
I actually did
the
that.
title?
There's two accounts that are in the state VT Pi system. It's got the old account and then the new one for the trust. And so I went into the new one and it says that there's no current use buildings enrolled.
so I did put a call out to our forester. I know, not that it matters, but when I called the original forester, he was in the middle of moving and he turned me over to someone in his office. So
So, given that, do you want us to continue for maybe 2 weeks instead of 1 week?
that would be amazing. And then I could at least get to the bottom of this.
Okay. I think, does that work for everyone? No one has a problem with that? Okay.
Thank you.
Oh, no problem.
That would be October 23rd.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for coming in.
Do we
Thank you,
do,
guys.
do we do the other one as well now? Or do
No, that one we closed the hearing on.
on the trailer? Then why did you go look at?
Well, we have to.
That's an inspection.
Yeah, that's the
Oh,
inspection.
So
Yeah.
you closed it because you're leaving it the same?
No. We still have to write an opinion. We haven't even decided the value yet, but we
Okay.
continued this one because there was a question
Okay.
about the
I thought
barn
both were
and whether it was in
continued.
current use. So we want to resolve that.
Was there anything discovered from whomever about the different numbers for the different neighborhoods?
I think there is some information that we have, but we haven't done a land schedule yet, to my knowledge.
The neighborhood list.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that was
That we-
the big question there, just
Right.
why, three-
Yep.
you know, 1 acre and 3.2 acres, or, I don't know. Okay,
But that's something, once we get the land schedule, the Board of Civil Authority can review. and-
okay, so that's when I
Resolve.
get an opinion on it.
So you will, that one is closed, and so, our inspection report, I believe, has been written up, and, we just have to deliberate and reach a
Okay.
decision on that. But-
Perfect.
That
Gosh,
was
you
moving
guys
along.
might go home
Yeah.
before midnight.
Well, thank you.
Thanks for
Thank you.
coming in.
Thank you.
Okay. The next hearing is Rano. The property number is 00301-084.000 slash 699 Vermont Route 100 North. And I believe Mr. Frano is on Zoom.
Yes,
Okay.
There he is.
So because this is the beginning of the hearing, I need both you and Russ to raise your right hands so I can give you an oath. Under the pains and penalties of perjury, do you solemnly swear that the evidence you give in the cause under consideration shall be the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
I do.
I do.
Great. Mr. Frano, have you received a copy of the rules of procedure for the Board of Civil Authority?
Yes, I have.
Great, thank you. Do any members of the Board of Civil Authority have a conflict of interest or have had ex parte communications with the appellant?
I'm a close personal friend of Mr. Frano. I don't think it'll affect my decisions, but just sharing that in advance.
Well, what, do you want to abstain from this?
Sure, I think,
And Sarah, you're abstaining too? Okay. Anyone else? Okay. All right. Russ, would you like to describe this property, please?
Okay, so we've got a industrial, classified as industrial property at 699 Vermont Route 100 North. It's comprised of 4.75 acres. And what we're classifying as a warehouse structure. And there's also a shed on the property. The current assessment is $179,480.
Great, thank you very much. Mr. Frano,
Yes, sir.
would you like to present your case as to why you don't think that's the right value?
Well, I left, initially, I left a typewritten a statement
Yep.
giving some of the
Yep.
background of what's there through the course of the years. And I thought that would be taken under consideration.
It will be, sir. It's part of our record. So I just want to know if you had anything to add to your written statement.
Well, what I think initially, when I appeared down at the town hall, there was the wrong piece of property to start off with, and when I saw that it was the piece of property, as you just mentioned, 4.75 acres, probably 4 acres of that is floodplain, and part of it is across the river, which there's no way of getting to. And some of it is to the box culvert off of Route 100 where the guardrail is. So the barn itself, that's with the level of the road is probably the 3/4 of an acre. So there's no septic there, there's no water there, there's no heat there. It's more of a storage for the equipment that I've had in there since, oh my God, had to be 78, 79, 19, when I bought it from Link Haynes. So it's all my dad was in the same business, and it was all the machinery from the Second World War. He worked in a Navy shipyard down in Stamford, Connecticut, and he used it until he retired, and I moved it up here and put it in that barn. So it's just storage for the last at least 14 years since Irene, the hurricane flood or whatever. My foundation was compromised because it's loose stone. The river came up. So my whole downstairs, there's still mud down there if anybody'd like to go up and inspect the building itself. So to go from I don't know what the old assessment was, but it went up 110% in this latest one. And I think whatever you just said, 179, I thought it'd be far less than that. I'm not going to use it anymore. It's just storage. I took retirement 14 years ago when I was 68 years old, and I'm 82 now. So I'm a resident of town since 1969, and I've been here ever since. So I don't know if something could be done or if something could be mediated. I'd appreciate that. So
Okay,
that's my contention.
all right, thank you. Russ, would you like to respond to that, please?
Yeah, so at the grievance, after the grievance, we dropped the value. It was 202,940. And so we reduced it down to 179,480. So we reduced the land down. The land is comprised, we have it allocated with a 1 acre, one usable acre. And then we also made a influence factor. We took off 20% off that 1 acre for topography. The rest of the land is classified as commercial excess, 3.75 acres. And we reduced that down considerably. I made a 50% reduction for the wetlands issue. So the primary 1 acre is valued at 48,000, and the excess acres, 3.75 acres, is valued at 17,000, for a total of 65,000 on the land. The building is classified as a warehouse, storage warehouse, and we have it as a fair quality. And then there's also a shed, which we have as just average quality, 14 by 38 shed. And that totals up to 114,480 for the building. So I included the map, a copy of the map. I don't know if you have that. I submitted a map of the property to show where the.
Yeah, we have the map.
Yeah, so that shows, yeah, it shows what basically what he was telling us about the land across the brook. So I don't have any comparables there. I couldn't find any comparable type of property in town to use as a comparable.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Excuse me, Russ or whoever, is there any way I can get a written on the values you just placed on the on the building or the properties you just described?
Yes, sir. I mean, that's on the listers. It's on the property card. So I'm sure we can get you that information.
Yeah, if I could get a copy of that as far as the breakdown, because I have nothing to go by either, you know?
Okay. I think we can get you that.
It was emailed to his daughter Haley,
Oh, it was.
and I have a hard copy downstairs. If they stop.
Okay, do you hear that, Mr. Frano?
No, I didn't. I'm a little hard of hearing.
So Ken, I emailed Haley the documents from the assessor,
Okay.
but I'm happy to stick them in the mail to you as well.
Well, if Haley's got copies of them, a hard copy, I could use that.
All right, let me know if you'd like it in the mail.
Okay, thank you very much.
We just mailed.
Okay.
Definitely.
And thank you for hearing me.
Oh, we're not finished yet. Does any member of the Board of Civil Authority have any questions?
I have a question for Russ. So Russ, do you take into account with these valuations, the fact that this property is in the flood zone?
Well, yes, I did. Well, not directly, you know, there's a lot of properties that are in the flood zone, but we have no way of calculating what the influence of the flood being in the floodplain. So, like I mentioned, the 3.75 acres, which is basically, I consider the unusable portion, I took off 50% for wetlands. So if you look at the property record card, the commercial excess land on the front of the card, it's got a influence code of A, which is for wetlands. And we took off 50% for wetlands.
I can't see what it ever could be used for, because a piece of that property is on the other side of the river that floods when it's springtime. You know, there's 3-4 beaver dams there. They can use it.
Well, so it's definitely arguable. You know, it's hard to put a value on it.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. It'll never be used for anything. You know, you can't put a bridge across the river there.
Yeah.
Anyhow, that's what it is, I guess.
Meg, you have a question?
Russ, a follow-up to John's question, is there a differentiation between wetlands and the flood zones, the varying flood zones? Because there is quite a bit of difference in terms of building. If somebody were to try and improve the site for another use. I'm curious because you said you had no comparables, and that's what I was curious about. Other buildings in the commercial zone in Wilmington that are used for, you know, warehouse or storage.
Well, I looked, yeah, I couldn't find any sales. So, you know, there are some properties that have some warehouses, but not a similar type property.
The barn is on the level of the Route 100. It's the floor below where they had the manure spreader and the cows and everything when the Haskells owned it. That's gets flooded. In the state and I think the town at times have used to dump some of the stuff when they clean the roads in the spring, you know, with what they have to dump back there, trying to put riprap and stuff along the river there. So, but it floods at times. I mean, all that land behind the market there, that's the same field, that all floods. When Hobson owned it, there were pumpkins floating around the reservoir. So I mean, it's floodplain. It's not wetlands.
Ken, I have a question.
And I'd you know, be glad to show someone around if they'd like to
We'll
look at it a little closer.
We'll be doing a visit, definitely. Question though, in terms of what insurance do you have on the building? I believe now it's valued at 114,000. Do you have an insured for that?
No, I had through Tom Fitzgerald when he worked downtown there. I think I had a rider or something on my home insurance for, I think the machinery somehow or another was written into that, but I don't have any homeowners either now, so there's no insurance at all.
Thank you.
Does anybody else have any questions for either Russ or Mr. Frano? Doesn't appear so. So we will move on to scheduling. It's forming an inspection committee and then scheduling an inspection of the property. So we need 3 people to do it. I can do it.
I can do it.
John, I can do it too.
Okay. All right, so Frano, we have an inspection team, Meg, Tom, and myself. So, Mr. Frano, we need to schedule a date and time to inspect the property.
Well, I'm sure they could be worked out, do it before it snows or in springtime.
Well, hopefully we can do it next week or this week.
Soon, yeah.
I have to check. I have to check on the dates because I have doctor's appointments scheduled for, I do these infusions.
Next week.
So let me check when my appointments are. I either go up to Townsend or Brattleboro. So if it's a day I'm not going, that's fine. I've got a lot of time on my hands now.
Just posing a procedural question is if we can't schedule the inspection in the meeting, can we deal with it via email?
Yeah,
Do you want to try and set a date and time and then we can
well,
change it if
the
needed?
15th, I think one appointment is on the 15th. So if that's the first one. So if it's before the 15th or after, whatever's workable for whoever wants to come up, just email my daughter Haley and with a time and I can meet you at the site.
So the 15th is a bad day.
Yes.
Yes.
But how about the day before, which is a holiday? You might have traffic jam there, I don't know. Or another day later next week. Would you be likely to have something 2 days after your first appointment, do you think?
Yeah, that'd be fine.
17th?
17th?
Want to do that?
17th?
9 a.m.
How about Friday at noon?
This Friday?
Yeah.
I can't.
Okay.
Sorry.
I just figured,
Well,
well, we're
actually-
plenty, I'll be,
actually-
let's go.
I can, John.
I'd rather do it after this holiday weekend because I've got other things pending
Right.
too.
Okay.
So,
All right.
The 17th would be very suitable.
okay, so October 17th at 9 a.m.
Very good.
Great. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Ken.
Thank you.
Okay. The next hearing is Saviano. The property number is 00CHA037.000, and the address is 11 Upper House Way. And who is here to testify? Let's see, Barbara.
Barb Saviano.
Okay.
Me?
All right, so our first order of business is to swear you and our assessor, Russ, in. So could you please raise your right hand? And can you turn on your picture, please?
I don't know how to do that. Yeah. Can you see me now? It's
No, we still don't see you.
uh
There should be a button. There you go.
hey.
Excellent. All right. Under the pains and penalties of perjury, do you solemnly swear that the evidence you give in the cause under consideration shall be the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Great, thank you. Russ, do you want to briefly introduce this? Oh, excuse me, I forgot 2 things. Did you get a copy of the rules of procedure for the Board of Civil Authority?
I did.
Okay, And do any members of the Board of Civil Authority have a conflict of interest or have had ex parte communication?
No.
I am seeing none. Okay, so Russ, do you want to briefly describe this property?
Yep, we got a residential property at 11 Upper House Way. It's comprised of 1.52 acres and a contemporary style dwelling. The current value is $448,840.
Okay. Thank you. Barbara, do you want to give a reason why you don't think that's the appropriate value?
Yes, my reasoning, and pardon me if I'm speaking very quickly, I'm in Florida and we're in tornado warnings here. So I want to, oh boy, okay. So anyway, thank you for giving me the opportunity to appeal this, this reevaluation. The reason I'm doing this is it appears that my home has been unfairly valued for many years, and I'm choosing to use the data from the 2020, and what prompted me, of course, was the reval of the 2024, the tax thing that went up. And I'm not taking issue with the 2024, reval. I certainly understand, the pretty much 30% increase across the board for the homes, but my situation is really compounded with every increase in the valuation of the home because it's really not in line with other comparable homes in my community. So the disparity just continues to grow. And I really am not sure why and how my home has become so out of whack with my neighbors of like properties. So let me explain. I've done extensive research using the property cards and Zillow, and I've examined dozens of properties and provided documentation on homes within Chimney Hill, homes on my street, homes built by the same builder, homes that were around the same time, homes that were not for sale, homes that are for sale. And I believe that this is a fairly cross section of comparable properties. My deeper dive into the data consistently shows that my property has been overvalued when compared to the others. I now have done the same thing for the examination of the properties that the assessor, sent for the the selection of 5 that he prepared. I hope you had time to review some of the data that I submitted. I actually submitted originally, there were 16 homes in my sample. And when I first looked at this, I looked at the 2020 property cards and the valuation of those. And what I found for all those 16 is the average value per square foot was around $119 per square foot on average. Mine was $183 per square foot, so $64 per square foot more than comparable homes, in my opinion. The average valuation of these 16 homes was $253,860. Mine was $344,520, so $90,000 more. After this reassessment, again, it compounds. So the valuation of the 16 homes was $367,271, and mine was $488,840. So now it's $121,561 more on average than the other properties. I applied the same methodology to the 5 properties selected by the assessor. And the average price per square foot in 2020 of those, based on the property card, was $142 compared to my 183, $41 per square foot higher. The average valuation was 253,540. Mine was 344. Again, 90,980 higher than the average of the rest of them. Compounding that in the 2024, the average valuation was 387,730, and mine was 488,840, 101,000 higher. So it kind of has that same pattern of the valuation of each of these is for me, it's not in line with the rest of everything. And I really don't think it's fair to use only sold homes to value my home, especially in a heated market, and most of the updates to the interior are not identified on the property cards. For example, finished basements, kitchens, bath remodels, etc. But even using those sold homes, as we've seen with some of that inflated price, my home still is valued more. It should be noted that the market is slowing, and many of the homes are no longer selling in these bidding wars as they had been a year ago, which is the time frame that was used for the sample that was provided. As you can see from my, I also then just took, just to get a level set of what is today, what is out there. And in my example, I picked 24 House Loop, and I provided those documents to all of you as well. It's currently for sale. It's a gorgeous home, completely updated from head to toe. It's been on the market for over 85 days, and the price has been lowered several times with over it's over $50,000 down from when it was originally put on the market. And the Zestimate is even lower. And I have other examples of that as well. So every property that I provided to support my appeal has attributes that are similar or superior to mine. Chimney Hill location, beds, baths, square footage, and have upgrades, updates, garages, finished basements, new kitchens, new windows, and baths, etc. I could go on. While my home is well maintained, and I take pride in maintaining my home, everything's original. It's the same roof, kitchen, baths, windows, carpets, decks. I have an unfinished basement, no garages, no outbuildings. So I would really welcome your group to come and look at my house and compare it to some of these ones that were sold. So you could see that, apples to apples, it's just not there. And looking at a property card and just comparing that doesn't really tell the whole picture. So in conclusion, I really would like just a reset, of my house compared to the valuations of these comparable homes, and I think that should be done to squarely put me in line with my neighbors, that have comparable properties. There's nothing about my home that warrants any valuation that makes me $90,000 to $121,000 higher than the other homes in Wilmington, Chimney Hill, my street. And that's really what I have to say. So thank you again for taking the time to listen to me and my appeal. And I'd be happy to answer any questions you have.
Okay, thank you very much. Russ, would you like to respond, please?
Okay, so I submitted a comparable worksheet, which is generated through the computer system. And it picked 5 comparables. And if you look at the land value for each one of them, the land value is pretty much same across the board. The subject property has a land value of $42,500. Comp number 1 is $42,000. Comp number 2 is 40,000. Comp number 3 is 40,000. Comp number 4 is 42,000. Comp number 5 is 40,000. All of them are in Chimney Hill neighborhood except for one, but it is a comparable property. The size of the dwellings are about the same. The subject property is 1,738 square feet. Comp number 1 is 18,1876. Comp number 2 is 1712. Comp number 3 is 1665. Comp number 4 is 1843. And comp number 5 is 1802. So they're all comparable size. The quality grades are fairly similar. We've classified the subject house as good quality. Comp number 1 is good. Comp number 2 is good. Comp number 3 is a little inferior, and I made an adjustment for it. We call it average quality. Comp number 4 is good, and comp number 5 is a little inferior, and the system made an adjustment for that. So these seem like reasonable comps. We don't do what's called comparable assessment. The state of Vermont allows property owners to compare on equity. So the property owner can look at and submit properties that they feel that are equal to their property, but we have to use market comparable properties that sold. But that is, if I don't have the resources, typically go out and look at every house that may be similar and just evaluate the property based on the assessment. So I have to use comparable sales. The comparable sales are basically support. We don't value any property in town by the actual comparable sales value. The system is calibrated for all the sales for the last 3 years, and we can't go past April 1. The property owner can go and look and find comparables or sales after April 1 of 2024, but we're not supposed to do that for the purpose of the first assessment. I think that's about it.
Thank you. Do any members of the Board of Civil Authority have any questions? I don't hear any questions. Barbara, do you want to respond to any of the information that the assessor just provided?
Okay, well, I found, I've done 16, but I have more. And the thing is, all of the comparables that were selected by the assessor were all over a year, at least a year ago. Okay. There's been many sold since then. Okay. And to say that, now that the market's slowing, we're not going to go past April, when clearly, even Zillow was saying, the market had from last year to this year has dropped more than 14%. It's, and the truth is that there are other properties that are sold that have comparable, in between that time. So I'm not sure why it should be, cut from that point. And I think winding this back a little bit, I'm not appealing this because I got an increase and I just don't want to pay an increase. What I'm saying is that I'm not sure there's a mistake in the valuation of my home relative to all those other houses. I have 20 something houses here. And we look at, just kind of reasonableness, what the state says and all of that. I'm just trying to appeal to logic and saying, for some reason, my home just seemed to like go out of whack, and to just say, be, we're gonna look at this as if I sold it to get an appraised value. I'm just trying to be, it's in fairness, there's something wrong, and I just don't think, I don't think that the market value.
All right, no, we understand what you're saying, so I mean, and we have your written information, so, I think, based on that, unless there's any other questions, we can, do you have a value in mind? Thank you.
Okay.
I don't know that you heard your question.
Oh, that was to you, Barbara. Do you have a value for the property in mind?
Okay, so, to me, put me in line with the average of the rest of those homes, that I was telling you about here. So if I look at the average valuation of the 16 homes, it should be 367,271. That's the average of all of those 16. Okay.
And just want to confirm that number. It's 367, 271?
271, correct.
Okay, great, thank you. All right. The next thing we need to do is schedule an inspection of your property.
Okay.
And appoint an inspection team. So first of all, do I have anybody who wants to?
One other thing I wanted to say.
Oh, you have
is-
another question. Okay, go ahead.
Not a question, but just a clarification that we use April 1st as the drop down date in terms of valuation for everyone. There has to be a date that we have to use. So that's why we use that date. And when COVID happened, we reappraised in 2000, finished reappraising in 2020. A similar, things changed drastically from April 1st, 2021 as well.
Sure. And I totally understand that, and that's why, I use the cards, the property cards from 2020, and that's why I said I use that as a stake in the ground. And you know what, and maybe when we had the 2020 evaluation, I should have, life was different then, and I should have questioned what was going, but I assumed that it went up, and that was that. But this one prompted me to look, and so that's the reason why I use both, because I know that things were crazy, and so when I look at the 2020 and I compare it to all my neighbors and all the things that I told you about there, I was still like so far out of line, and I just, there was a problem then. I didn't address it, and that's I understand cutoffs. I am a reasonable person.
Okay. So yeah, so we have all that data in your documents that you provided us. So now we just need to have an inspection of your house. And
okay.
Oh, go ahead, Tony.
Does she have somebody who can provide us access?
Yeah, she's gonna
Okay,
be
good,
gone.
thank you. My question.
Yes, I have a friend that is on call, and I provided the number, and she's available anytime. Sandra Bolduc, and she'll let whomever. So I just need to know whatever is convenient for you, and she'll make herself available to show my.
Great.
Thank you so much.
So I need an inspection team. Tony.
Do, all right.
Yeah, you'll do great. Anyone else?
You could do it based on the date.
Sarah can do it. Anyone else? Go ahead, go.
We can do it based on the date.
But you can't do it next week.
No.
So what date are you looking at?
Right, that's the question.
Okay, so what date do you think Sandra will be available?
Yeah,
She said pick the date.
yeah, you.
Just pick. All right.
Whatever.
So who's doing it? The two of us, who's the third?
What?
Who's the third?
Depends on
person
when it
doing
is.
It depends.
I'm available almost tomorrow. Anytime.
I can't do it this week. I can do it the 15th to 16th next week.
All right, so that means I'm gonna do it with you guys. All right.
So the 15th or the 16th,
16th is better for me.
Wednesday.
16,
Yeah, I'm
okay.
closing.
What time, Sarah?
8, 9?
I have Rotary, so.
You go to, okay. How about?
Lysandra said anytime.
We have a meeting on the.
Yeah,
16th?
we do.
So. Yeah, 3 or 4,
Why don't we, yeah,
right before this meeting.
right
you wanna
before
do
the
it?
meeting would
Okay,
be
so
fine.
let's do 4:30.
4:30.
4:30 on the 16th.
Okay.
Okay, I will tell her 4:30 on the 16th. So will you just meet her at the property or?
She can
Yes.
pick us up if she wants.
No, we'll
Yeah, her car is not that big.
no, we will meet her at the property, and thank you so much for testifying, especially given that the hurricane's bearing down on you. So I really appreciate
I'm
that.
actually in the bathroom, yes. Sorry. Okay, thank you
safe,
very
Susie.
much. I appreciate that. And I provided to Therese her phone number and all, just as a contact, just in case something changes for you guys, okay?
Okay, great, thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right, our next hearing is Vermont Lodge LLC. The property number is 02020036.000, and the address is 85 West Main Street. And you are Cliff.
Is Avenger between Saviano?
That he changed his schedule.
Oh,
So
okay.
there's a new,
Got
this
it.
is the latest.
Oh,
Yeah.
sorry.
Okay. So the first order of business is to swear you all in, Russ and you, or can you raise your right hand, please? Under the pains and penalties of perjury, do you solemnly swear that the evidence you give in the cause under consideration shall be the whole truth and nothing but the truth? I do.
I
Okay,
do.
excellent. Russ, would you like to describe the property and its current value?
Yep, we have a residential property, 85 West Main Street. It's comprised of 29.4 acres and a dwelling, an older dwelling that's in the process of being renovated, totally renovated. And it's partially complete. So I wasn't able to develop comparables for it because it has a partial value on it.
Okay.
The current value that we have now is $231,580. And that's after the grievance change. Originally, I had the property as complete when it wasn't. So we corrected that. And I actually had somebody go out and take a look at it to try to determine an appropriate value for it.
Okay. Oh, sorry. Does anybody need to recuse, or has anybody had any ex parte communications?
No.
No.
Thank you. Okay,
I did receive the,
you received the procedures. Thank you. I'm going too fast, sorry. All right. Do you want to state your case, please?
Yep, so just a couple of things, I bought this property, for $80,000, a few years ago. And, for my accountant, I put $60,000 on the land and $20,000 on the building. Deb Kingsley, I believe, she was the other assessor. She said that the building really didn't have much value because of the condition of it. And I did have a couple different contractors say it might be cheaper just to rebuild it than to try to renovate it. So what I did is just to kind of document that a little bit is I took a bunch of pictures, through my renovation, I took a bunch of pictures, but the value of it as of April 1st, the renovation didn't really start. There was a lot of deconstruction. There was no construction. So I probably didn't label the pictures very good, but I think I sent like about 20 different pictures.
Yep.
And the first couple, you'll see there was like nothing done. There's one that you'll see a contractor up on a ladder. That was the first, the very beginning of the renovation. And that was again in April, I think right around April. I get the pictures here somewhere. Actually, I don't have that, but I know it was.
Yeah, sure.
You gave me 2 copies of something, never mind. One you just handed me, you gave me 2. Sarah's gonna keep the other one.
So all of those pictures are, oh, you did full-size pictures too? Okay, I should have sent so many. So you'll see that there was a lot of work that has to be done in the structure. All the windows had to be removed. None of the windows were framed for egress for the bedrooms, so it had to be reframed. Had to remove doors in the basement. There was no windows. There was no doors in the basement. The basement has cracks in it that need to be repaired. There was no interior drain in the basement. The basement was getting water. There was no proper footings in the basement. So although there was a nice cement floor, we speculated that the way it had to be supported, there was no center beam in the basement. They were just held up by temporary posts. So we had to cut out proper footings, and sure enough, when we cut down about 6 inches in the concrete didn't go down further than 6 or 8 inches where it needs to have a proper footing. So we had to cut all that out for the proper footings. So kind of a long story short, at the date of this reassessment, April 1st, the house had very little value, a lot less than what I think the assessment was, and that's kind of why I tried to document everything that we had to do to bring the building up to be rebuilt on the inside. And we're still not done. Everything had to be reframed. And one of the pictures, I hope it's on there, was from the engineer. I wanted to make sure that the roof structure was adequate. Right now, the roof is they're 4x4, 4x4, 32 on center. And the weight calculation has to be about 70 pounds per square foot. And it's dramatically underneath that. So the plan will look kind of like this here. It's showing that I need to do additional 2x6s, 16 on center to add additional support. So, and I sent an email, so that kind of just described the rough timeline. And I picked that up just by all the checks I was writing. So I know the check was either when I started it, because I have to give them a deposit, or when I finished it. So sometimes it looks like I started it and didn't finish it for like maybe a month or so. That's just because materials was hard to get materials at times. So like the decks took a long time to put together, but it really was a shell that really needed everything and needed structural support. And the basement had a lot of problems with it. Even when they did whoever put the foundation in, they put the pockets for the center beam in the wrong spot. So we had to do a center beam in the traditional spot. And then the way it was framed about 2 feet over. So we had to do point load down. So you'll see in some of the footings, they were cut out kind of extra wide because we had to have 2 supports. We normally would only have 1 support. And that was all kind of a function of the foundation really not being put together correctly and being adequate. So that's kind of the building part of it. And as far as just on the land value, the land value now is a lot higher than what I paid for it. And this property doesn't have any frontage. It just has a right of way. It's not subdividable. There's 2 water corridors that come down through it with appropriate buffers. So there's not really be pretty difficult to work around all of that wetland that is protected, and it's awfully steep. So it's not really the best land to build, or I did send one comp, my neighbor to the left, just recently, very end of 21, beginning of 22, he bought 52 acres and it's beautiful. It's got over 400 feet of frontage, 52 acres. And I think mine's being taxed about the same as his per square foot or per square acre. And his is clearly superior. So just a couple things I wanted to bring up to see if we could get it brought down a little bit. And I did meet with, I think Dan was out there just a few days ago. He was taking some pictures from the outside. I invited him if he wanted to go in and measure it and take a look. So I did go through with him already and I documented everything I did. He hasn't seen any of these pictures, but he saw what condition it is right now. And it's definitely coming along, but I really haven't got inside, like none of the electrical's done yet. Just a little bit of plumbing, the basement is done. And I'm way over 6 figures just getting it to this point where it's at right now. So.
Okay, thank you. Russ, would you like to respond, please?
Yeah, so, yeah, the owner, well, he would know best as to what percent complete it would be as of April 1. So if you could estimate what you think the percent complete would be as of April 1, then the value could be adjusted. So if it's less than, we have 50% now. If it was less than 50%, which it sounds like it was, then if you can have an idea of what percentage you think it should have been as of April 1, as far as the percent complete. Percentage wise.
Yep. So I know it said on the field card, like 50% was completed. Then I think it said the condition was very good, which I thought was a little bit strange too, because if you look at the pictures, you can tell like the first few pictures where it still hasn't been completely gutted yet. It was in very bad condition. It was not in very good condition. I think the value of it actually, as it got torn apart, the value probably went up because the cost of ripping everything out and getting rid of it in a dumpster was extremely expensive, to the point where I had to do a lot of it myself because I couldn't afford to pay a lot of the quotes that I was getting for just demo work. But yeah, if I had to say what percent it was completed, it had a foundation that was deficient. It had issues with it, and the whole thing had to basically be gutted. I would say probably close to 10% complete.
10%.
Okay. 10%.
Yep.
Yeah, we don't consider demolition costs at all. We never put that into the calculation at all. It's just what was there on April 1, how complete it was. So.
So April 1, the basement was completely gutted, just about. I think there's a little, I think the bathroom was not gutted yet. In the first floor, everything else was pretty much gutted, except for the floors still had to be pulled up. And then on the second floor, the plasterboard was removed, but the horse and plaster was partially removed. And all of the insulation, after you took it out, all the blown insulation, which was really good that we removed it, because some of the cavities, it settles and there was like big gaps and it wasn't very insulated at all. It really had to be gutted because we were trying to think of just doing it cheaply and trying to, pull wires, and that would have been the wrong thing to do. It needed to be gutted to be renovated properly.
Okay. So your testimony is was 10% complete as of April 1st, 2024. And are you challenging the value of the property or just the completion? The amount?
I think the completion amount is really more of what I was challenging.
Okay, that seemed to be from your email what you were going at, but I just wanted to confirm that. Does any member of the Board of Civil Authority have any questions?
You correct me if I'm wrong. What do you think on April 1st, the value, 86,000 is what you paid for it?
Yeah, approximately.
So.
I
on
think they
April
have it
1st,
at
would that be
80,000. but-
An appropriate value
Say that again?
on April 1st,
Yeah.
on the value day, would that be the value of the property, was basically what you paid for it?
I would love to say it didn't appreciate at all in that period of time, yes, but I don't know if that's accurate. I think
What do you
it did
think it would,
appreciate.
what do you think it would have been on April 1st?
I think it probably appreciated probably $40,000 or $50,000, I would imagine,
130?
probably around there.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
So I am on the Vermont Housing Improvement Program. I signed that in May, and that has to be completed in 18 months. So it has to be completed and rented by October of 25. Yeah. I was really hoping to be done well before then.
Well, I'm looking at the pictures here, one's toward the end.
Say again?
The, one's toward the end. here.
Yep. Yeah, the outside, oh yeah, that's April 1st. Yeah, that, the one you're looking at there was April 1st. That's,
Well, I'm talking about the end.
yeah, it looks,
Rather nice.
yep. And if,
Doors, windows were all in.
yep, all the doors and windows are in.
Insulated outside.
Green Mountain Power just put my 2 panels and my 2 meter outside meter sockets in like a couple days ago.
Well, what's the date on that?
That was like a week or 2 ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. In the photos, they have, I think the
saw-
dates are actually in the
Yes.
photos, so that will tell you exactly what the
I
date is.
saw that. I was looking for the English. No, it's, yeah, that's August. in fact,
Yeah.
I just wanted. But it does have to be done by October 25.
And rented,
And rented.
and rented. That's in the program. Yeah. My goal is to have at least the outside all buttoned up so we could be working inside in the winter. So I'm a little bit ahead of it, that schedule, so. I gotta finish this one, see if there's any money in the budget to do anything else.
I think we have a few more buildings.
Are there
Thank you.
any other questions? Okay. So the next order of business is scheduling an inspection and setting an inspection team. Do I have any volunteers for an inspection team?
Again, based on date.
I know. Anyone?
Volunteer.
Hey, I'll go.
Tony?
Do you,
And Therese? Okay. All right. Are there specific dates that would be good for you?
I'm pretty flexible.
Pretty flexible. So you guys, what dates work for you? What would you propose?
Don't care.
How about Friday at noon? Okay, well, I'm not the one that's the middle, right?
So I'm sorry, I do have a Friday at 1 o'clock. So I just want to make sure I have enough time to get
Well, let me
to
ask you this, are your contractors there?
it will on Friday.
Holiday week?
Yeah, that's
Maybe, I'm not sure. I'd rather be there if possible though.
All right, well, how about 10 o'clock on Friday?
That would probably work better.
Again, it's hot, it's Tony.
Yeah.
10
Yep.
o'clock?
10, 11.
I'm writing it down, sir.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
John, 10
Excuse
o'clock.
me for a moment.
Is that okay with you, Therese? Okay. All right.
Friday, 10 a.m.
On Friday afternoon too, so let's just make a day of it.
Okay, well, thank you very
Friday,
much.
10?
Yeah, we're all done.
Awesome.
All right. So the next hearing is, and I'm probably going to mispronounce his name and I apologize. Sure.
a new card. Good question.
Oh, wait.
Well, I guess, I mean, Russ, are you willing to correct the card?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I can just change it to 10% complete. No, his estimate's the best
Then we will-
indication.
continue it.
So what we'll do is we'll continue it if you find a new property card acceptable with the 10% completion on it, then you could withdraw your appeal and make us happy.
Okay, so no site visit at this point?
No, we're not gonna schedule a site visit this time. We'll just continue it, and is next week okay? Same
Will it
time,
be the
same?
Same thing Wednesday?
Yes,
Can't do Wednesday.
we can do it in 2 weeks from now.
2 weeks I can probably.
Okay,
Yeah.
that would work.
Wednesday I can't.
Good. All right.
Just to explain a little better how we do it. So basically, we try to put all the building data in, the sketch, everything, as if it's going to be completed. So that's why, I put it in as a very good condition. So we'll value it as if it's complete, and then factor it and take 10% of what the system comes up with.
So on the field card, I was just looking at it. It looks like, is it listed as 4 bedrooms, 4 bathrooms right now?
Let's see.
3 fixture bathrooms.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
There's only going to be 3.
Okay, so I can correct that.
Yeah, there's going to be 1 in the basement and 2 on the first floor unit. Yep, 3 of them.
Okay.
So I think, let me just look real quick.
We okay?
Yeah, I think that was the only thing that jumped out at me that I don't think was right. So,
No, that was a good catch. Thank you. No, excellent catch.
what's that?
Thank you.
Okay.
Did you share something more?
You don't have to worry about it. Yeah, it was just, I wanted the field card for the neighbor's property, just because I didn't know exactly what the new valuation was for that. If you want to send that, just so I could look and see what it is. but-
Oh, your request.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought you had sent me more to share.
No, well, I was gonna maybe use that one as a comp, but I guess I didn't know what the valuation, what it could reassess for. Revaluation.
All right, so I'll just make sure you get it.
If you have a revaluation now, I'd like.
Okay. Now on to our next and final hearing of the night. And if I mispronounce your name, I apologize. Scrudato, number is 02321011.000, land in garage. And testifying is Cynthia?
Yes.
And did I mispronounce your name horribly?
You got it. You did it perfectly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. So the first order of business is I need to swear you and Russ in. Is anyone else testifying or just you?
My husband, Paul, may. He's right there.
Okay. Okay. Paul, you raise your hand too? Great. Under the pains and penalties of perjury, do you solemnly swear that the evidence you give in the cause under consideration shall be the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
I do.
I do.
I do.
Okay. Did you all receive a copy of our rules of procedure for our hearing?
Yes. Yes.
Great. Does any member of the Board of Civil Authority have a conflict of interest or had ex parte communication?
No.
Nope, hearing none. Okay. Russ, would you like to briefly describe this property and its current value, please?
Okay, so we have a lakefront property on Lake Raponda Road. We still don't have, it should have a 911 number, but we don't have it yet. That's something we gotta take a look at. It's comprised of 0.1 acres. It does have waterfront. And it has a garage. We're calling it a garage. We're not sure exactly how it's being used, but it looks like it's still a garage. For some reason, the property was never really valued. Back in 2020, the whole property was valued at $25,000. The current owners paid $250,000 for it in 2020. And to come up with the current, the reappraised value we have was $300,000. We actually reduced it down to $266,610 after the grievance. And we had to put the garage on. The garage was never identified in the town property records. So I put it in there initially, and then I had I had somebody go out and take a look at it this past week to try to get the correct measurements of it and make sure we had the correct data for the structure. So we did that. So I provided 2 property record cards. One was the original card that had the garage, and then the second new card with the updated dimensions of the garage, plus there's a deck, and also there is a dock. So I put those items in there to create a new value for the structures. I also looked at the frontage. The frontage, it's very small. It's a very narrow lot. I guess you can just barely put that garage on there to get it to fit on the property. But so I actually reduced, again, my recommendation to the board is the value of the land should be reduced to $200,000 and the building value raised to $25,710 to come up with a new assessed value of $225,710, which is less than what the property owner paid for it. So I'm not sure, the property owner can probably identify how the building's being used, if it's a boathouse or it's a garage, or if it's has anything. We didn't look at the interior of it, so I'm not sure how it's being used. It could be just an uninsulated garage. It does have power, I believe. But other than that, we don't have any information on the interior. The current suggested value would be $225,710.
And that is on the property card under the column called worksheet, I believe.
Right, yeah.
Yep.
So until it becomes official, until it's official, and it's considered a worksheet, work in process.
Okay. All right. Now it's your turn. Who's going to speak first, Barbara or Paul?
Cynthia, I will speak.
Cynthia, excuse me.
It's the basis of our appeal is really pretty clearly set out in my letter, which is that our property is in between 2 other properties. So you have perfect comparables there. The one on our right, which is actually a nicer piece, it's also 0.1 acres, is assessed at $75,000. It does not have a garage. It has a small storage unit. The one on our left is twice the size, much nicer, much more buildable, has 2 docks, and that is also assessed at $75,000. It's baffling to me why ours would be assessed at, $225,000 when we are in between 2 almost identical properties, one which is 2 times the size, the other which is exactly the same size. And I do understand it's what we paid for it. It was a blind bid. We're idiots. That's all I can say. She said, give us your best offer. I'm not telling you what anyone else is bidding. So that's what we did. I did not check in advance as to the value of the bordering properties, which might have been a good idea. But if you walk on our property, if you walk down, which apparently you have, you can see it's not buildable. I mean, it's rocky. There are boulders. Yes, there was a deck. There's a deck there, but that deck has been there the entire time when it was assessed at $25,000. The garage apparently was never assessed. It's not used for anything other than, storage, and we don't really use it for anything else, which you will see. But if you walk down the stairs, which we do share with the other property, that's twice the size, it's valued at $75,000, you'll see that our strip is, you couldn't put anything on it. We do have a dock at the bottom. We did add a dock. There was a dock. Was there a dock there before, Paul?
No.
Yeah, there was a dock there. We
was
put
a
it in
dock.
1991. Yeah.
We
did it.
removed, but it's
Yeah.
one of those plastic docks we take out every winter. So but anyway.
But the deck was there when it was assessed at 25,000.
Okay. Russ, do you want to respond at all?
Well, basically, we're required by the state to try to value properties what they sell for. And the best indication of what something is worth is what somebody's willing to pay for it. But I would admit, I didn't really look at, I would have to take a look at the neighboring properties. I didn't do any evaluation of anybody else's property. I just looked at this property. The land valuation schedule is typical for the waterfront. I changed the rating of it. I put it in as a fair frontage because it is very small. Now I can't comment on the other neighbors' properties because I didn't really take a look at those.
Okay. Thank you. Does the Board of Civil Authority have any questions?
I have a quick question if you don't.
Tony, go right ahead.
I have a feeling that the building was there when you purchased the property. Is that
It
correct?
was. Yeah, it's been there for a long time, I think.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions?
Yes.
Nick?
Hi, I think the width of your property, the strip of land is 25 feet. I seem to remember that when I had it listed 2 owners ago. And it was, the garage is older, I know, than the property card says. It's much older than 1975 or 95. It had been there a long time, and there was an owner who had land towards the north end of the lake in which they built. So not anywhere close to the strip of land in the garage, but they were associated as one property. So that maybe that's why the garage was never evaluated. Probably nobody ever got inside and saw that it was just a garage, basically. So, but at 25 feet is what I recall for the width. And the neighbor you mentioned, I think, has 50 feet of shoreline.
That's correct.
Thank you.
And what do you use the garage for?
I have, we have storage. We have a little refrigerator in there that I keep drinks in, and like to change if you want to put in a swimming suit.
There's no plumbing.
No.
Okay, any other questions?
I think is it correct to say one could not drive into the garage? Isn't it up in some sort of little slope? Or I was always baffled how somebody used it in the past ever as a garage.
I think you could fit a small car in the garage. We don't use it for that, but you could fit a small car in the garage.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Any other questions? All right. As we've done with all our hearings, we need to schedule an inspection and appoint a inspection team. So,
I'm happy to be on the team.
okay, so Meg. Okay, Meg.
I can go as well.
Okay,
Do it
Sarah.
like the 16th as well. Can you
The
do 16th?
16th.
Do it before the one over at Jimmy Hill.
Sure. So, so,
I'll do it too.
oh, you sure?
Yeah.
I'm gonna be gone, so I can't volunteer.
Okay, so
What time on the 16th then?
Well, we have one at 4:30, so you want to do like 3:30, 3:45?
3:45?
Yeah.
yes,
Probably good.
If that works.
3:45. Yeah.
And how do we get in?
We can just leave it. There's a little lock on the door, but we're happy if neither of us can be there, and I don't think we can. We can just leave it unlocked, just go right
I
in.
mean, he could be there the 11th. You could go right in, and I just want to make sure that when you, the reason I would want to be there, but maybe it's not important, is I want to make sure you go down the right, that you see it's the right property, because, you know, our garage is, there's steps leading down to the right of it. That's the property that's the exact same size. That's valued at 75. Then there's staircase to the left of the garage that you walk down. I just want to make sure you see what ours is, because it's the worst one of the three in a row.
If you use the stairs to the left of the garage.
Yes, if you use the stairs to the left and look to the right, that's our property.
And
And
we'll see your dock either pulled out of
yes,
the water.
you'll
or-
see the deck, and then you'll see the dock. The deck was there. I just want to reiterate that. And then if I want you, I would like, I don't want to insist, but if you look to the left, you'll see this much larger, nicer property. And that's the DeGroot property that's assessed at 75,000.
Okay,
So we're saying 345.
345 on the
I think we
16th.
can stick with that.
Yep.
And we'll leave it on, we'll just leave it unlocked, right, Paul? There's nothing in there that's,
Yeah, we'll leave the lock on there too, but you'll easily be able to see that you could just turn it and go in. That will.
yeah, okay.
Do you want us to lock it after we've been there?
Yeah, that would be good. Sure.
Okay,
Thank you.
Thanks a
you.
lot.
all right.
What value do they think it should be?
Oh,
Oh, go ahead, Bob.
What,
So I would say that since it's half the size of the DeGroot property, which I would put it at 38,000 plus the value of the garage that has been placed at 25,710, I would say, 64,000.
okay,
thank you.
thanks. That's helpful. Thank you, Juan.
Thank you very much.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
All right. So,
I'm all set. You don't need me anymore?
no, we don't. Thank you very much, Russ.
Okay, you're welcome.
So do we not record this section or
Inspection report.
inspection reports? How many are there?
Whoa.
How many?
Seven.
Do we need the whole board for that, or can I just sit here and read them in? I'll do it.
Oh, that's an easy one.
Yeah.
15-day for decision.
Yeah, why don't you tell us which ones are?
Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah, the earlier ones were potentially getting into deadline issues.
Right.
Okay. Do we have an inspection report for Polito? I see the McConnell.
Second page.
Second page.
I did it. I sent it to Terry.
You're in trouble.
461 Lakewood Pond Road.
McConnell, I see. I'm just,
Yeah, I don't see the other one either.
The 451 Lakewood Pond Road references somebody named Robert and Kathleen, Revocable Trust. Do they have a last name?
It
Yeah.
says
Polito.
owned by Humbert
Polito.
Polito.
all right, so,
That's
one,
McConnell.
2, 3. Yeah, I have the McConnell inspection.
Yeah.
So the ones I have is Beaman, Castle Hill, Boyd Trust, 189 East Dover Road, Boyd Trust, Route 100, but we're not going to do that one. Dagan,
Yeah.
Lieber, McConan, and Netkoff, which is an inspection waiver.
That's what's on the website,
So
on the Dropbox.
Let's do McConan.
Lieber was earliest in time.
Lieber, we should do
Yeah.
first.
So we've done the decision, right? Oh, okay,
Oh.
okay.
So, yeah, Lieber, we don't have to worry about. McConan.
Yeah. Dagan,
Wh-
we're all
wh-
the
Where's
same.
Polito?
It is not on the Dropbox.
No.
Isn't Polito 461 Lake Lavanda Road?
Yes.
I have a copy of it here. Oh, I see.
It came in today.
Oh, see, I
Okay.
haven't checked
That's why
that for
I
a
have it.
while.
Yeah.
Wanna share?
No, I have it right here. I did it.
You did it, right, Sarah?
I did
Yeah.
it. I know I did
Know
it.
somebody?
Okay.
I need one.
Okay. So that one.
This is McConan.
Okay, I have that.
Oh, I did
Polito's the
McConan
one that
too.
we don't have.
No.
Oh, I did it, okay. Oh,
But
good.
you didn't have the
Madonna.
last name in there. You wanna put the
Oh,
name in.
very good.
Okay.
That's Polito.
Yeah, we have to read them into the
Right.
record. So we'll do McConan, Polito,
Dagan, I've got, it's quick.
Dagan.
Land, yep,
Okay.
those were all the same inspection
Um,
date.
we
Yeah.
could,
We did 3 together.
okay. How many do we want to do tonight? Because I mean, we do have Beaman and one of the Boyd properties that we can discuss too. I mean, we're gonna have to do them at some point.
Let's just do them.
Okay.
Get it over with.
Yep.
All right.
Sorry.
So then we'll do
You
Beaman,
can still go to book club.
Okay.
Castle Hill. And then Boyd, 189 East Dover Road. Okay. So McConan.
Okay, so I get to read it?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, oh, yeah. Oh, so I realized, Meg pointed out, I forgot to put his last name, Robert and Kathleen McConan Irrevocable Trust. The inspection was done on Monday, October 7, 2024 at 8 a.m. Mr. McConan was present at the inspection. The property identified as house and land consists of a single-family residence on 0.5 acre, which includes access to the lake. The property is further identified as waterfront home site. The inspection consisted of the land, exterior features only, specifically the water access and size of that access. Mr. McConnell appealed his appraisal, and on August 6, 24, the assessor indicated that the fair market value was changed from $313,000 to $445,870. Mr. McConnell's initial appeal also questioned factual error on the information in the lister's office. Mr. McConnell appealed this August 6th decision to the BCA on the basis of factual error on the lister's card, which lists his property as waterfront homestead. His house and his water access are separated by Lake Raponda Road. The portion of his property that fronts on the water, land only, is 45 feet in length with a dock of average size, dock frontage estimated to be 15 feet. We saw the lot markers along the lake that the homeowner confirmed to be 45 feet. The property abutting the lake doesn't lie directly in front of his house. Merriam-Webster defines waterfront land with building or a section of a town fronting on abutting on a body of water.
And the recommendation of the inspection team.
I'm recused from this one, so.
Oh, we have to go. Sorry. All right. Do we have to read all of them? Okay. Polito.
Okay, Polito. The inspection was made on Monday, October 7th, 2024 at 8:20 a.m. Mr. McConan, the neighbor of the property, was present and let us in the house. No member of the assessor's office was present. The house is located on the northeast end of Lake Raponda. The house site is across the road from the lake. There is a covered porch running the length of the front of the home with a stone wall that looks out to the lake. The backyard has a deck with a privacy wall. The exterior of the house appears to be vinyl board and batten. The main floor of the home is an open concept with kitchen, dining room, and living room. The floor appears to be concrete with an epoxy finish. There are 2 bedrooms on either side of the main living space. Both bedrooms are ensuite. One bedroom has a walk-in closet as well. There is a utility closet for the washer dryer off the kitchen. There's a large closet across from the washer dryer closet. As you enter the home, there is a pantry accessed by a sliding barn door. A large open wood staircase leads to the loft space from the main living area. The loft space was measured and it is approximately 253 square feet of living space. There's a bathroom, the shower, and the loft. The main area of the loft is set up as a bedroom. A railing running the length of the loft looks over the main living space and lake. The exterior of the home is very good, excellent condition, and the interior of the home is excellent to exceptional condition. The highest and best use of the property is residential. Respectfully, Sarah Bonnie Trees.
Great, thank you. The next inspection report is Dagan.
This was inspection of lots 1 and 2 on Sunrise Hill Lane.
1 and 7?
Sorry, 1 and 7, yes, thanks, Tony. Made on Monday, October 7th, 2024 at 9 a.m. Neither the assessor nor the owner was present. Property consists of 2 lots located in a small development with 1 private road, Sunrise Hill Lane. 1 lot has frontage on Sunset Hill Lane and appears to have been soil tested with various surveyor tape markers, while the second lot is adjacent to the first, down a steep wooded incline with frontage along Route 100. Lots are heavily wooded. It appears the best house site is in the area adjacent to the Sunset Hill Lane, where there's a relatively flat area. Value under appeal is $140,000. The owner purchased the lots in November 23 for a total sale price of $69,500. At the time of the sale, the lots had been on the market for over 2 years, most recently at a price of $74,500. The owner presented information about how often the combined lots have been on the market over the past 15 years. The assessor presented information about 2 other lot values. 1 2-acre lot on Haskell Hill Road, Town Road, currently valued at $44,160. The other was on Boyd Hill Road, 3.9 acres, also on a town road, with a view of the village and mountains, valued at $68,280 by the current assessment. Highest and best use for this parcel is for residential use if possible under Vermont well and wastewater regulations.
Great, thank you. Next inspection report is Beeman, Castle Hill.
Okay. Inspection of 43 Castle Hill, Wilmington, Vermont. Inspection to the above captured property was conducted on October 1st, 2024. The owner, Ms. Beeman, was present. No one from the assessor's office made an appearance. The home is situated at the corner of Castle Hill and Fairview Avenue, runs east to west, and is 2.5 stories with an attached 3-car garage. Clapboard covers the majority of the home. Vertical boards are the siding of choice for the garage and mudroom area. It should be noted that the area over the garage is finished and leased. The apartment has a dedicated bathroom available to the occupant. The roof is asphalt shingles with 1 deck on the north side and a porch on the south side. Adjacent to the garage, the home is situated on a well-landscaped lot. The home consists of 4 bedrooms, 3 baths, 1 bedroom and 1 bathroom situated on the first floor with the remainder on the upper level. The first floor houses the kitchen, living room, and dining room. Area with a TV and a fireplace, which was mentioned is not operational. The second floor has 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, 2 means of egress, one from the front room, living room, and a second one to the den area via a special wrought iron staircase. It should be noted that the access to one of the bedrooms requires bending and leaning down to navigate the slanted roof on the southern side of the building. The basement is unfinished with access from the kitchen, the floor was poured for about 80%, with the remainder being dirt. Utilities and mechanicals are located in the basement. The condition of this Victorian style home is average, and the best use for this property is residential. The owner states the value shown in the recent assessment is excessive, $453,680. Desires relief by offering multiple properties with similar size and condition. What's the next one, Joe?
The next one, the final one is Boyd. The mobile home.
I wonder if I can jump on that one too. One second. Okay. This is the inspection of 189 Eastover Road, Wilmington, Vermont. Owners Danny and Janet Boyd. Inspection was completed on the above captioned property on October 4th, 2024, at approximately 4:30 p.m. Appellants Danny and Janet Boyd were present. No one from the assessor's office chose to attend. The property is located at 189 Eastover Road and abuts the Boyd Farm on the south and east. The trailer is unusual in that it has a full basement underneath with a poured cement floor. The basement is used as a garage with the innermost area used for mechanicals and electrical services. The inner area is quite wet and dehumidifiers are used to address the moisture. The trailer itself is an older unit occupied by one person, while the interior was adequate. Windows and doors were seriously outdated, needing replacement due to heat loss. A pitched roof was added many years ago to alleviate excess snow accumulation as well as preserve the manufactured roof, which was part of the trailer. The structure has 2 bedrooms, although one was an office area. It also had a living and kitchen area and a bath. The trailer could best be described as vintage, but livable at this time. The trailer is situated on 1 acre, a 1 acre lot that is tree lined. It has an antiquated septic cover with a large access lid that is rather prominent on its back lawn area. The best use for this property is residential.
One adjustment on this should be October 5th.
Sure.
Saturday.
Saturday is the 5th.
Okay. So now we can stop recording. I'm going into deliberations.